Hi everyone, Katarina from Bloom and Passion here. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I'm going to make a lovely, nice and easy, quirky, fun fold Christmas card. That was a mouthful. So I'm going to make like a Z fold, but at a diagonal, just like so. It's such a gorgeous, gorgeous card. Now you will see me work my way through it, change things. The first sentiment I didn't pop up on foam pads and decided it needed it. So but even with that, with all the flukes and mistakes I made, it's such an easy card and it really is beautiful and it really is different. Okay, so now this is essentially a 6x6 card base. You will see when we are working it what I exactly mean. But if you want to post it in this setup, then you will need a bigger envelope or a box. Or you can fold it inside just like this, and this way, although it would have a little bit of a dimension if you decorate it like I did, but it will fit into a 6x6 of a box. So it stands up beautifully, and I think it's just a gorgeous little card. And to make it, I used the gorgeous mini Christmas bundle created by Marta from Drop of Sunshine. And I used this exact bundle before to make these lovely packaging ideas for money and gift cards. I will link to the video below if you want to check it out. To make this card today, I'm using a 12 by 6 inches of a cardstock, scored down in the middle on the longer side at 6 inches. This way I created a 6 by 6 inch of a card base. Now I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to add just a little mark just on top of the cardstock at 7.5 inches. I'm going to take that cardstock, turn it the whole way around to the other side, and I'm going to add a pencil mark now at 1.5 inches. Now, those two marks are just little dots that I will rub out later. I'm not sure if you can make it out. That's them there. Now, they are both on the same side of the cardstock, so this will be all on the front panel. Now, what I will need to do to join up those two marks with a score line. You can use your ruler to do that with a scoring tool if you wish. What I prefer to do is just line them up with the same groove on my scoreboard. I marked up where the 6-inch groove is, and this way I just know that I will be scoring it perfectly straight as I need to, or at a diagonal even. Now, once I scored it, I'm going to turn the cardstock to the other side and I'm going to score from the other side as well, because this score mark will be folded a different direction from the middle score mark on the middle of the card, if that makes any sense. Okay, so I'm just marking it from the other side, folding it outwards and inwards. Now, I hope that made more sense now. Okay, so I'm just going to burnish those score lines. Quickly going to rub out those pencil marks, and the paper that I'm going to use is from Marta's bundle, and there were 4 on the same cardstock, on the same sheet of cardstock, and I'm going to use this one in here today. The silver mirror cardstock measures 4.25 by 5.75, and on the bottom side at 1.25 inches I'm just going to add a little dot. Now, from that mark up to that top corner, I'm just going to cut this down with my trimmer or guillotine. Now, just line it up so it's a nice and sharp point on the top and cut it down, and this would perfectly mat on top of the card or the front flap of the card. And this piece of cardstock measures 4 by 5.5. On the 4 inside on the bottom of the card, I'm putting a little mark at 1 inches. And again, cutting it down, making sure that that point on the top of the card is nice and sharp. I'm going to layer it on top of my mirror cardstock, and that would perfectly decorate the whole front flap of that card. I'm using double-sided tape on this piece because it is going on top of a mirror cardstock, and liquid glue may or may not hold on permanently, so I think I just prefer to use double-sided tape or a tape runner when I'm adhering anything to glitter cardstock or a shiny cardstock just like this. So once I peel the backing of the double-sided tape, I will adhere this to the shiny card, and then I will use collal glue to add this whole unit onto the base of the card. this will strengthen it up nicely. Now at this point it became evident that the front of the card will be quite heavy and it would topple over if I didn't balance it out. So I decided to use a matte enamel layer onto the back bit of the card as well. 5 3/4 inches squared for the mirror cardstock and 5.5 inches squared for the white one. Now at this point I wasn't sure which way I was going to decorate this. I was thinking I might stamp a sentiment in there, but I really wasn't sure. So I'm just not going to glue it down yet until I decide what way I'm going to decorate this later in this video. To decorate this front bit, I've chosen a few different bits and pieces from the ephemera pack that Marta created. They are so gorgeous. Snowflakes and poinsettias work so well together. I would have never thought, honestly, gorgeous. In here I'm deciding between Joy to the World and Jingle Bells. I go with Jingle Bells now, but you will see me later change that because I didn't pop it on foam pads and I just didn't like how it was lying against everything there later. You will see in this video. So I'm just kind of arranging them, seeing what way I will put everything on it. And for the first ephemera to go on, I'm going to glue this flat on it. It has that lovely design in the middle, the hearts and snowflakes that made me fall in love with this whole paper pack. It's gorgeous design, it really is. So I'm just trying to figure out which way is it nicest from front view, because that's how it will be displayed and that's how it will need to sit straight. So the next one is this lovely pillowcase shaped ephemera here. I'm going to add foam parts to this one. Now in the background the circle one has a little bit of a poinsettia design on it on the sides that you can see, and this one that I'm using now has the snowflakes on it. I think it just adds such a lovely contrast. Trying to figure out whether it will be sitting up or down, I decided to put the snowflakes facing down towards the bottom of the card. And once that's glued onto it, I'm going to put my sentiment on it that says Jingle Bells. And this is where I make the mistake. I glue it on just with liquid glue instead of using foam pads. And later on in the video you will see I did not like that bit at all. Now I'm going to add these lovely elements to the card. I'm going to cut some of that snowflake away and just a little glue dot in the middle there, and lift the edges of the snowflake away from the card. I think that adds a lovely dimension. Bit of a hot glue on the leaves and the poinsettia flower. And I'm going to add this on top of the sentiment there. Now, if you want to know how I made this flower, just go back to my previous video that I linked below, because I showed you exactly how I made this using Marta's design. Now, I built the Jingle Bells back there, as you can see. I just wasn't happy how flat it was sitting against everything in there. So I took this other sentiment, Joy to the World, and I added foam pads onto it, and then I decided that I didn't need it on the sides or the very edges of the sentiment, so just left a few in the middle. Now I'm going to peel back the backing of the foam pads and just cover up that mistake in there now. And it fits perfectly over it, so you won't see any of that whiteness showing in there from having the other one peeled back. At this point I knew that a stamped sentiment would look well out of place, just didn't like the idea at all. So I decided to use these snowflakes instead. I was so happy decided to do this because it just looks absolutely gorgeous in there, honestly. It was meant to be. So some of them I'm gluing in as a whole snowflake, and this one I've cut down at a straight edge and lining it up against the edge of the white cardstock, and I'm going to do the same on the top there, just lining it up right against the white cardstock, the edge of the white cardstock. I'm going to use my collal glue to glue this onto the back of the card, and with this I'm going to add a lovely balance back to that card, because now the front bit was so heavy it wasn't standing up nice and straight or diagonally even. Now it does again. Now, I'm going to take some of the blingy boxy from Chloe's Creative Cards, and it is the silver ones I'm using, exactly the same one I used in the middle of that poinsettia, only I'm taking the small and the medium ones in here, and I'm just going to add a few here and there and just deciding whether I like it in there or not. And of course I do. So I'm just going to play about a bit, just to decide where they look nicest, and I'm just going to glue them on. So when I looked at the card, I thought it was missing something. Now I know that you can't really see this bit from the front open view of the card, but yet still I thought it was missing this. So I just decided to add some more snowflakes onto the opposite corner of the back panel of the card. And I thought that filled it out just perfectly. Okay, so I'm doing exactly the same thing I did earlier, a full snowflake in the corner and then 2 partially cut down on either side of it. And I just love how this turned out. So now a bit of a cleanup in here before I can show you the card without all the mess in the background. I know you cannot see it from the angle that I can, but I will take some photos and I will insert them at the end of the video so you can all appreciate the whole full beauty of this card. So thank you, Martha, again for this gorgeous Christmas bundle. It's just allowed me to create this really quirky, really beautiful, really different looking Christmas card. And if you liked my tutorial today, guys, please give me the thumbs up or leave me a comment. If you haven't yet done so, please consider subscribing to my channel so I can nicely start growing. And I have so many other videos to bring you. Some I've already recorded back to back now. So I look forward to editing it down and bringing it to you very soon. So thank you for watching, and until the next time, bye!